Jai, Nanta Gurti Vaishnav Vrinda ki Jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai, Jai Go Premanande, all glories to the assembled devotees, glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Shri Guru, and Gauranga, all glories to Shri Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Jaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayodhiraye Nashta Prayeshwabhadeshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhagavati Naishtike. So we continue reading from the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 10, text 25. So the last 2 days we were speaking of the English, right? Is the language of today. So we spoke about the Damodar Lila, and on the first day we spoke about how Mother Yashoda tried to bind Krishna, and there was 2-finger short, and which represents endeavor and mercy. And yesterday we spoke about how Krishna saw the 2 Arjun trees, and then how Parikshit was asking, what about these trees? And then Shukadev Goswami tells a story how Navakulera and Manigriva were cursed by Narada Muni, and in this regard we spoke about how they offered, how Narada Muni spoke about how the poor people can easily access sadhus and the rich people often are proud. And we spoke about material desires and how we should desire only Krishna, and if we have some desires, we should try to engage these desires in Krishna's seva. So today I'd like to continue with just the pastime, and then we'll
Verse 25.
we read from 10:25, and I'll just give an overview. So as we mentioned, Narada Muni saw that these 2 were drunken and pride, so he kind of said, okay, I shall relieve you from your false prestige, and you shall become get bodies of trees. And so in this way Narada Muni cursed them, and Nala, Kuvera and Manigriva became 2 Arjun trees. So, and when Krishna saw these trees, of course he knew what's going on, so slowly he went to that spot where the 2 Arjun trees were standing, and of course we know the story that he went there, dragging behind him with great force the wooden mortar tied on his belly, and then he kind of uprooted the two trees by walking through them. And then 2 great perfect personalities appeared like fire personified, came out of the trees, and they offered prayers to Krishna. Right? They offered wonderful prayers, and then Lord Krishna also speaks to them, gives them blessings, and then basically they return to their celestial abode, but they had prayed that they may receive devotional service so they can continue devotional service in their celestial abode. So this is also part of the Damodar Lila. Usually when we speak of Damodar Lila, then we always think of Mother Yashoda trying to bind, of course that's the main part, but this is also connected to the story and part of it. And now I selected this text 10:25 because this shows how Krishna was thinking when he saw the 2 trees, and he was thinking, oh, there is a story behind, and it's quite significant for us also, I think. Okay, so 10:25. Devarshir me priyatamo Yat imau danadatmajo Tatha sadhayasyami Yat gitam tan mahatmana Devarshir me priyatamo
Devarshir me priyatamo
Yat imau danadatmajo.
Yat imo dhanadatmajo.
Tat tatha sadhayasyami.
Tat tatha sadayishyami.
Yat gitam tan mahatmana.
Yat gitam tan mahatmana.
You like to?
Devarshir me priyatamo.
Devarshir me priyatamo.
Yadimo danadatmajo.
Yat imau danadatmajo.
Tattada sadayishyami.
Tat tatha sadishyami.
Yadgitam tan mahatmana.
Yat gitam tan mahatmana. Devarshi,
Devarshi,
the great saint Devarshi Narada,
the great saint Devarshi Narada,
me,
my
Priyatamaha,
Priyatamaha,
most beloved devotee,
most beloved devotee,
Yat,
Yat,
although,
Imau,
these two persons,
these two persons,
Nalakuvera and Manigriva,
Nalakuvera and Manigriva,
Dhanda Danada Atmajo,
Dhanada atmajo.
born of a rich father and being non-devotees.
born of a rich father and being non-devotees.
Tat,
Tat
the words of Devarshi,
The words of Devarshi,
Tata,
Tatha,
just so,
just so,
Sada Ishyami,
Sadayishyami,
I shall execute,
I shall execute,
because he wanted me to come face to face with the Yamala Arjun.
I shall do so.
Because he wanted me to come,
because he wanted me to come face to face with the Yamalajuna, I shall do so.
yes. Yat Gitam,
Yat Gita,
as already stated,
as already stated,
Tat,
that
that Mahatmana
Mahatmana
by Narada Muni.
by Narada Muni.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So this is Krishna thinking, no? While he's crawling towards the trees, he sees the trees, he's going there and he thinks. Although these two young men who are in these trees are the sons of the very rich Kuvera and have nothing to do with them, Devarshi Narada is my very dear and affectionate devotee, and therefore because he wanted me to come face to face with them, I must do so for their deliverance. So you see the significance of this shloka already. Huh? Krishna says, I have nothing to do with these two. You know, like they're non-devotees. So similarly, Krishna has nothing to do with us, basically, who we are. But when we take shelter of Srila Prabhupada, when we take shelter of our spiritual master, then all of a sudden, aha, you know, my dear devotee is pointing to them, and then I should help, I should deliver them. So that's very significant. So Prabhupada says, purport, Nala Kuvera and Manigriva actually had nothing to do with devotional service or seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face, for this is not an ordinary opportunity. It is not that because one is very rich or learned or was born in an aristocratic family, one will be able to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face. This is impossible. But in this case, because Narada Muni desired that Nala Kuvera and Manigriva see Vasudeva face to face, the Supreme Personality of Godhead wanted to fill the words of his very dear devotee Narada Muni. If one seeks the favor of a devotee, instead of directly asking favors from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one is very easily successful. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has therefore recommended Vaishnava Thakur Tomar Kukura Bulia Jana More Krishna Se Tomar Krishna Dite Par. One should desire to become like a dog in strictly following a devotee. Krishna is in the hand of a devotee. Adhurlabham Atma Bhakto. Thus, without the favor of a devotee, one cannot directly approach Krishna. What to speak of engaging in his service? Narottam Das Thakur therefore sings Chariya Vaishnava Seva Nishtara Payeche Ikeba. Unless one becomes a servant of a pure devotee, one cannot be delivered from the material condition of life. In our Gaudiya Vaishnava society, following in the footsteps of Rupa Goswami, our first business is to seek the shelter of bona fide spiritual master, Ado Guru Ashraya. Beautiful purport, and yeah, it's a nice aspect of this pastime. How Krishna delivered these two, just because Devashi Narada had desired so. Om Jnanatimirandasya Niranjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Namo Vistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vanchakal Patarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Papanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Again the text, although these two young men are the sons of the very rich Kuvera and I have nothing to do with them, Devashi Narada is my very dear and affectionate devotee, and therefore because he wanted me to come face to face with them, I must do so for their deliverance. So here is the importance of sadhu sangha emphasized. And interesting, in a later part of the pastime, when Krishna actually speaks to them, after they have the two come out of the tree, then they offer prayers. And after they have offered their prayers, Krishna speaks to them also. And he says another thing, also in regard to sadhu sangha. He tells them, Sadhunam samaschitanam suttaram matkritatmana darshana nabhavait banda pungsakshno savituryata. This is 10:10:41. When one is face to face with the sun, there is no longer darkness for one's eyes. Similarly, when one is face to face with a sadhu, a devotee who is fully determined and surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one will no longer be subjected to material bondage. That's why, of course, it says Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastrakaya, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi, Hoya. Sarva Siddhi, Sarva means all Siddhi, all perfection, can be attained by even Lava Matra, a very short fraction of a moment, association with a sadhu, a pure devotee of the Lord. And certainly this was the case for the two, although the two were actually very degraded. Somehow they came in touch with the sadhu, although the sadhu even became angry and cursed them, but still that sadhu sangha had an effect on them, so that they finally got perfection. So, and why is sadhu sangha so important? Because in the association of sadhus, we are that's why I also said satsang, no, it's a satsang, because in the association with devotees we hear about sat, we hear about the truth, we hear about the absolute. Because in this world, usually we always hear about everything else. Prajalpa, mainly. Village talk. Mainly, the thing that we hear, the sound vibration we can hear in this world, is basically just material sound, which is all concerned about, this and that, and I and my, and envy, and jealousy, and all this. But when we come in touch with sadhu, then all of a sudden we will hear the message of the Lord, we hear the glories of the Lord, the qualities, the pastime, and that is what we need to hear, because that hearing, and that's why Prabhupada so many times emphasized the importance of hearing. Hearing is such an important and powerful process. Just by hearing Krishna Katha, one can be awakened to the original Krishna consciousness. And Nectar of Devotion, a shloka from the Puranas, from the Garuda Purana, is quoted that just as someone is bitten by a snake, then there is certain mantras that one maybe falls unconscious because of the snake bite, but by certain mantras one can be reawakened. And similarly, we are bitten by the snake of Maya, and we are in a kind of sleeping condition. And by hearing transcendental sound, we can be awakened to Krishna consciousness. Or another example Prabhupada often gave, when we take an iron rod, piece of iron, and put it into fire, although the iron is cold, but if it's long enough in the fire, it actually takes the quality of the fire, and then the iron becomes, like fire itself. If you touch something with that stick, it starts to burn. So similarly, our consciousness is material, like the iron, but if the consciousness is put into sound vibration long enough, then it also becomes spiritualized. And that sound vibration, of course, is the chanting of the holy name, but also hearing Krishna Katha. And this is important to understand when we speak of Shravanam Kirtanam, which is the main Vishnu Smaranam, the main processes of devotional service. Hearing and chanting is not only hearing the holy name and chanting the holy name, it's also hearing Krishna Katha and speaking Krishna Katha, sharing. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur would say, just as we don't worship Krishna alone, some people do that, some sampradayas, they just worship Krishna alone, but we always worship Radha Krishna. They belong together, because one is Shakti, the other is Shaktiman. One is the origin, and then Radharani is the energy of the Lord, so they belong together. You can't separate them. So similarly, Hari Katha and Hari Kirtan, they belong together. I think the Hari Katha is the Swarup Shakti of Hari Kirtan. Like Hari Kirtan represents Krishna and Hari Katha represents Radharani. So they are always together. So we always have to chant and also hear and also chant. And that will make the Bhakti Lata, the plants of devotion, grow. And it's said that actually we should become very, very eager to hear Krishna Katha. One should become like almost mad to get sadhusanga and hear Krishna Katha. That eagerness should be there. And so therefore the association of devotees is so important. And in some way, as we see from this passage, that and Prabhupada mentioned it in the purport, in some way it's more important to please the Vaishnava than to please Krishna. Right? Prabhupada says this. If one seeks the favor of a devotee, instead of directly asking favors from Krishna, one is very easily successful. Yes, we can go to Krishna and pray in front of the altar, and of course we should do that also. But ultimately, if we actually get the mercy of a Vaishnava, then Krishna will naturally be also pleased. And Prabhupada says here, he quotes Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Vaishnava Thakur Tomara Kukura. Kukura means a dog. One should desire to become like a dog in strictly following a Vaishnava. Instead of Vaishnava, a dog? I should become a dog? I thought this Krishna consciousness will elevate me to a higher platform. Now I have to become a dog, like a woof woof. But a dog in the sense of, because a dog, although a dog sometimes is seen as a lower animal, like Prabhupada would say, like cats and dogs in a negative way. But the dog also has good quality, and the one good quality of a dog is he's very loyal. Yeah, honest and loyal, very loyal. Loyalty to the master. Dog is always waiting for the master, and whatever the master tells, the dog will immediately do. So very loyal, and he will defend, protect the master. Always wait for the next command. So in this way, the dog is seen as a very good example of being a loyal follower, and one should become a loyal follower of one's spiritual master. That's why sometimes it says, Kanti Mala. It's very tightly around the neck. This is like a dog has also the master can easily pull the dog closer if the dog is kind of doing some nonsense. And sometimes the dog is barking at someone or chasing after some other dogs or some children, and then the master has to pull the dog back. Hey, come here. So similarly, we sometimes do nonsense, and then when we have a master, then the master will pull us back. And also Prabhupada says, like in India you can see, of course here in the West we don't see, but in India you see some dogs, most of the dogs, they don't have a master. they're somewhere in the streets. And my God, sometimes you see dogs, they look horrible because they had some fight with some other dogs or with some monkeys or so. And you know, I've seen dogs, I mean, those who have been to India, you know, but those who have not been, you know, like, no skin, or like I saw a dog with, you know, no, like this part was just missing here, you know, like horrible, you know, like. So Prabhupada says, you know, the dogs on the streets who don't have a master, they have a very horrible condition. But those dogs who have a master, they live a very nice life. And that we see here, you know, like in the West, the dogs, they have even they go to the friseur, how you say, you know, to the barber, and hairstyle. There is hairstylists for dogs, and the dogs, they have a sweater, pullover, and everything, you know, like like dogs are like, you know, like yeah, like family members.
Yeah.
Of course, that's the other extreme. it's not what we. But the point is, if you have a master, you're nicely taken care of. And if you're without a master, then you're just like a street dog.
Street dog.
So do you want to be a street dog, or you want to be a dog and have a nice master to follow? So Prabhupada says, let's become a dog. Let's become a sincere follower of a Vaishnava. That's what is recommended here. And why should we become a sincere follower of a Vaishnava? Because if that Vaishnava gives us a recommendation, then Krishna will accept us. It's like, you know, sometimes, you know, I've been living in the temple for many years, and then sometimes people, you know, 10 o'clock in the night, someone knocks at the temple door and says, Hare Krishna, I want to stay overnight here. You know, like, who are you? You know, like, you know, we're not just, you know, we're not a hotel, you just come and, you know, but sometimes people do that, you know, they just show up and without, you know, sending a mail or asking whether they can come, they just show up. But if that person has a letter in the hand, here, and there's a recommendation letter from a temple president, you know, even a person I know, oh, you're coming from Ljubljana temple, and I know Ananta, he's a good friend of mine. He sends a recommendation, please come in. I will not hesitate a moment to let that person in, although the person is a stranger, never seen him before, he comes in the middle of the night. But if he brings a recommendation of a person that is very dear to me, that recommendation is good enough for me. You know, I will accept him. So similarly, Krishna, he maybe does not know us. I mean, of course Krishna knows everyone, he's in the heart of everyone. But in some way, because we have been distant from Krishna for so many lifetimes, in some way we are strangers to Krishna. Who is that person? But if a very dear devotee gives recommendation, Krishna, please, he's my disciple, please accept him. You know, please accept him. He's doing a good service. Then Krishna will, you know, he will accept that person. Therefore, you should take shelter of a sadhu, because of the mercy by such a sadhu, we will be introduced to Krishna, and in this way we get perfection. Otherwise, there is no chance. You know, we cannot approach Krishna directly. And some people say, well, but I have a personal relation with Krishna, Krishna is in my heart, why do I need a guru? Well, Krishna is in your heart, that's true, but that connection is established through another person, and that's just how Krishna arranged it. That's just a principle. That's just how Krishna wanted, actually. Krishna wants to see that we first surrender to his devotee, show humility and follow, and then he will accept us. And therefore, Vaishnava Sangha, or also Vaishnava Seva, is very, very crucial for our spiritual life. There is this beautiful shloka from in the Puranas, Aradhanam namam sarvesham Vishnur aradhanam param tasmat parataram devi tadyanyam samarchanam. This is Shiva, speaks to Durga, he says, my dear Devi, although the Vedas recommend worship of the demigods, the worship of Vishnu is topmost. However, above the word worship of Lord Vishnu is the rendering of service to the Vaishnavas who are related to Lord Vishnu. So better than worshipping Ganesha and Durga and all these is worshipping Vishnu, but even better than worshipping Vishnu is worshipping of the Vaishnavas. Quite a powerful statement. So Krishna is more, it's basically, if someone says, and that's also Krishna tells to Arjuna, or to Uddhava actually, I'm not sure, that one who says, I'm Krishna's devotee, then Krishna is not so impressed. But if someone says, I'm the devotee of Krishna's devotees, then Krishna, he recognizes. There's a nice, but who is a Vaishnava? That we also need to define. When we say we have to accept the shelter of a Vaishnava, we need the mercy of a Vaishnava. So who is a Vaishnava? What would you say? How would you define who is a Vaishnava? Someone who puts a tilak? Or?
Those who are devotees of Lord Vishnu.
Those who are devotees of Lord Vishnu's, okay.
Sajananda once said that even a person who has chanted the names of Lord Shri Krishna at least one time in their life is a Vaishnava, is considered to be a Vaishnava.
Yes, exactly. There is there is a conversation between devotees, like when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was living in Puri, then the Gaudiya Vaishnavas from Navadvip, every year they would come for 4 months. They would spend time in Puri. They would go there to Jagannath Puri, attend the Ratha Yatra festival, spend time with Mahaprabhu, then they go back to Navadvip. So they were always traveling back and forth. And so one time they asked, how can we make advancements? We are householders, we are busy with our family lives. How can we become Krishna conscious? And Mahaprabhu said, you should chant the holy names and you should serve the Vaishnavas. That's basically the main thing that Mahaprabhu says. Focus on chanting and then serving Vaishnavas. Like here I was very impressed, Nrsimhavapu Prabhu, we have seen him, he served Prasadam. Such a service attitude, like for the first moment I came here, immediately, can I serve you? Like in a very honest way, very eager to perform Vaishnava Seva. Beautiful. But then comes the question, how do we know who is a Vaishnava? Mahaprabhu, you tell us we should do Vaishnava Seva, but then how do we know who actually is a Vaishnava? This question came up. Then the Mahaprabhu said, anyone who even once chants the holy name of the Lord sincerely, he is a Vaishnava. So anyone who just says, Hare Krishna, without offense, sincerely, then he's a Vaishnava. And then a little later, the devotees had doubts, but is it so easy, is this really? So they ask again, and then Mahaprabhu says, one who chants constantly the holy name, he is a Vaishnava. Okay, one who chants constantly, not just once, but one who chants constantly, always, Kirtanya, Hare Krishna, always chants, he's a Vaishnava. And then they ask him again, and then Mahaprabhu said a third time, anyone upon seeing them will start to chant the holy name, that is a Vaishnava. Like a person, if people just are in his association, they just naturally want to start chant Hare Krishna just because they are in his association. And like Srila Prabhupada is such a person. Prabhupada came to the West, sitting in the Tompkins Square Park, Hare Krishna, and everyone is just coming and chanting. And the whole global movement starts. That's a Vaishnava. A Vaishnava is one who can make others into Vaishnava. That's often said as a criteria. Who is a Vaishnava? One who can inspire others and nourish others to also become devotees. And of course, these three basically describe the different levels of Vaishnava: Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyama, and Uttama Adhikari. The beginner in Krishna consciousness, the one who is in the middle stage, who is an advanced devotee, and the one who is a pure devotee. But it's interesting to see that the main criteria is that someone who chants the name and accepts Krishna as a supreme, so he's a Vaishnava. So we should serve him. And of course, we should especially serve, we should serve all the Vaishnavas. It's always good to serve all the Vaishnavas. But of course, especially when we see senior devotees and our spiritual masters, then there's so much benefit in serving these devotees. And when we go to the Shastra and see the different pastimes of the Lord, it always becomes very clear that the association with Vaishnava is the greatest boon, the greatest benediction we can have. There's many prayers also, like Dhruva Maharaj, he gets the darshan of the Lord, and in many cases also with Prithu Maharaj, also with Prahlad Maharaj, they have the direct darshan of the Lord, and the Lord asks them, what do you want? And what do they ask? I like to have the association of your devotees. Quite amazing, They already have achieved perfection, but then when they want to have some boon, they ask, I want to have the association of your devotees. Why? Because they know if I'm in the association of devotees, I will never forget Krishna. I always will be connected with Krishna. Also, when it's quite amazing when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Gaya to do his Shraddha ceremony for his father who departed. So there he met his spiritual master Ishvara Puri, right? And he received the initiation there. And you know, like anyone has been to Gaya, to the place?
Not yet.
Not yet. It's on your to-do list.
Yeah.
It's I've been there because I was before I came to Krishna consciousness I was kind of a Buddhist. I was practicing Buddhism for some time, so I was interested in go to Bodh Gaya, which is the place where Lord Buddha attained enlightenment, which is just 20 minutes rickshaw drive or so from Gaya. It's kind of connected, Bodh Gaya, Gaya. And Gaya, the temple is a very small temple. It's like a little tower and very small temple room. But there you can see a stone, and in that stone is the footprint of Lord Vishnu.
Oh.
No, it's a big foot, but it's a footprint in the stone. So, and it's worshipped as the original, Vishnu stepped in that stone. And people go there to do the Shraddha ceremony when someone died. And so Mahaprabhu went there, and there he met Ishvara Puri. And then he said, I don't have here the shlokas, but he says, now that I have seen, Mahaprabhu says to Ishvara Puri, he says, now that I've seen your lotus feet, visit to Gaya has become successful and worthy. Which is, like, he goes there, everyone goes to Gaya to see the lotus feet of Vishnu. But Mahaprabhu says, having seen your lotus feet, the feet of the spiritual master, my visit has become successful. Not seeing the feet of Vishnu, but seeing the feet of the Guru. Now my visit has become perfect. And he says, oblations offered in a place of pilgrimage for the liberation of the departed souls affect only those who they are intended for, but just by your presence, you have liberated so many innumerable souls of departed forefathers. Therefore, no place of pilgrimage can be compared to you. In fact, you are the purifier of even the places of pilgrimage. No. So it says that someone may take a bath in the Ganges and one becomes purified from sin, but just seeing a Vaishnava frees you from all sins. So in this way, we find many places where the Vaishnava, the devotees, are glorified like anything, in the sense of, because the devotees, they represent the Supreme Lord, and if we please the Vaishnavas, then Krishna will be very, very pleased. And there is a nice pastime, maybe some of you have heard this, from Kanchipurna. There is a city in South India, Kanchipuram, right? Kanchipuram. And this is a very ancient city. And I've been there. There's two parts. There's Vishnu Kanchi and Shiva Kanchi, right?
Yeah.
So one part of the city you have all Vishnu temples, and then you have all the Shiva temples. And it's amazing. With the auto rickshaw, in one day you can visit so many temples. It's quite an impressive city. And so long time ago there lived one devotee, pure devotee. His name was Kanchipurna, in Kanchipurna, Puram, Kanchipurna. And he was a very simple brahmana. And his main service was he was a puchari, and his main service was to do chamara, just fan fresh air and make sure that there's no insects in the face of the Lord, just doing this fanning service in the temple. And it was well known that he had such an intimate, loving relationship with the Lord that he actually was able to speak to the Lord. He was interact with the Lord. And this is the Lord of, what is the name of the deity? Varadraja, yes, Varadraja is a Vishnu form, beautiful Vishnu form which is worshipped there. And so he would speak to Lord Vishnu personally when he does his service. So people sometimes would go and ask questions. Can you ask the Lord? And then please tell me what he says, like that. So one day, one devotee came, very nice brahmana, and he asked Kanchipuram, can you ask the Lord whether when I will go back to Godhead? And so he did the service. He asked, this brahmana asked me, and then the Lord says, because he is very much attached to you, and he worships and serves the Vaishnava, he will go back to Godhead immediately after this life. So he told the Brahmana, and the Brahmana was very happy. Oh, thank you so much. Then, while doing his service, he was starting to think, this is actually a good question. Maybe I should ask the same question myself. Like, what about me? He asked the Lord, when will I go back to Godhead? No, it's also I like to know. Will I also go back immediately? And then the Lord says, no, you will not go back immediately. Because only those who serve my devotees, those who serve the Vaishnavas, they will come to me. When Kanchipuram heard this statement of the Lord, he immediately dropped the bell and the chamara, and he left the pujari room. That was the end of his pujari career. He left, and then he was saying, I have to serve the Vaishnavas. But the problem is, because he was so famous in the city, everyone regarded him as a great pujari, and nobody wanted to accept his service. He wanted to do menial service, serving prasadam and washing the feet of others, but nobody wanted to allow, because no, we have to worship you. So then he kind of went to another place, and he kind of disguised himself to be like a very ordinary person. And he went to a great devotee named Mahapurna, I believe was his name, Mahapurna. You know the story, huh? And then, so he went there, and he kind of became engaged as a simple cowherd boy, and he kind of basically took care of the cows, of the Goshala, and he did menial service to the cows and to the Mahapurna, to the owner of the place there, and did a lot of Vaishnava Seva in this time. So he was very happy that he could perform Vaishnava Seva. Then it's described one day, he was outside with the cows, and there was a heavy storm and rain, and he had to bring the cows back to the Goshala, and he himself also went back to his quarter, but he was completely wet. And then he took off his cowherd clothes, and the only other clothes that he had were his sadhu clothes from the temple. So he put on his sadhu clothes, and he was sitting there and doing some job or something. And then the Mahapurna wanted to see, he must be, it was raining, he wanted to see how he's doing. And he came in and he saw his simple cowherd boy in the sadhu dress, and he could recognize, oh my God, this is Kanchipuram, this is not an ordinary cowherd boy. Why do you serve me? That's not proper. And then kind of they followed their feet, offered obeisances, and Mahapurna sent him back to Kanchipuram. So then he went back and he took up again his service as a pujari. And when he went to the pujari room and started to worship, then Varadraj was smiling, and he says, yes, you have understood. Now you will also be able to come back to me immediately, because you have served my Vaishnavas, my devotees. That is a little story, but the story shows the importance of seva to Vaishnavas, because this is what really makes Krishna so happy. And if you want to receive Krishna's mercy, that's what we need to do. We need to serve the Vaishnavas. We need to win the heart of one who is very dear to Krishna. Just like we heard in this shloka, Krishna was thinking while he was crawling to the two trees. I don't know these two sons of Kubera. I have nothing to do with them. They're non-devotees. But because Narada Muni, he wanted me to give them darshan. He wanted me to deliver them. Therefore, I will do so. Just because Narada Muni wished it. And the Prabhupada, there's a beautiful shloka in the second canto, in the chapter Change of Heart. Krishna is the property of his devotees. There it says, the person who has not at any time received the dust of the feet of the Lord's pure devotee upon his head is certainly a dead body. Have you ever received the dust of a Vaishnava on your head? Yeah. Yes, no? Sometimes we see there are the shoes of Sachinanda Maharaj or so, when we go to Golokadam or somewhere, we see the shoes and then we quickly or Maharaj walks somewhere and then we kind of because it says there is the three things. There is the dust of the feet, there is the bathing water of a sadhu, and there is the remnants from his plates. These three things are very potent and can give one Krishna Prema. So one should be very eager to get the dust, the bathing water and the Mahaprasad of pure devotees. But if someone has not taken the dust off the head, then his life is basically has no meaning.
Yes.
And the person who has never experienced the aroma of tulsi leaves from the lotus feet of the Lord is also a dead body, although breathing. So when you get the maha from the deities, sometimes flowers, tulsi, that's very nice. Then Prabhupada in the purport says, there's a common saying that one should first love the dog of the beloved before one shows any loving sentiments for the beloved. Right? First love the dog. And we see sometimes people go on walking in the forest with the dog, and when you show some interest, oh, very nice dog, beautiful dog, then the person immediately, and there's immediately nice relationship. Yeah, you love my dog, I love you. Because I have so much attachment for my dog, and someone appreciates my dog, I immediately have a good relationship to you. So that's the saying, and Prabhupada takes this example. So similarly, Krishna, sees his devotees. Krishna has so much love for his devotees, and if someone shows affection to his devotees, then Krishna, he loves my devotee, I love him also. So that's the principle, and we should always keep that principle in our heart, and then certainly we'll be able to make progress. As is described in the song of Vaishnava Thakur, Krishna se tomara, Krishna dite paro, tomara shakati ache. Amito kangala, Krishna Krishna boli, daitava pache pache. No, we run behind the spiritual master, the guru, the sadhu, and we say, Krishna is yours. You have the power to give me to him. I'm simply your servant running behind you, shouting, Krishna, Krishna. This is how we should beg in front of the spiritual master. Please, you have Krishna, you carry Krishna in your heart. Please give me Krishna. Give me Krishna. That's how we receive Krishna. There's no other way. We receive Krishna, we receive Bhakti, we see that it's coming through the association with the Vaishnavas, that we, by their mercy, we can actually get Krishna. That's why it's so important that we develop attachment and love for Krishna's devotees. And just as Navakulera Manigriva, who somehow, with good fortune, got in association with Narada Muni, although even he became angry, as I said, he actually cursed him, but still, in that curse was a special blessing, that he wanted that they become delivered. So similarly, if we associate with sadhus and they pray for us and they want our deliverance, then Krishna surely will listen to that sadhu. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Prabhupada. Any comments, realizations,
I just have
questions?
one question.
Yes.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances.
Hare Krishna.
I wanted to ask, it's very difficult to understand that Krishna was not knowing these two persons, because he's Sarvasya Chaham, Sanjivishto, and I have a question, is Krishna disappointed from us because we left him? What is that feeling if he because of that he is not recognizing us, Is he angry on us, or he's disappointed, or what is it?
That's a very good, interesting question. Yeah. Here says Krishna says, I don't know these. They are the sons of this Kuvera. Kuvera is the treasurer of the demigods. He has access to a lot of wealth. And they are the sons, and they are just spoiled by their wealth. And so I don't know them. They are non-devotees.
Yeah.
Krishna's thinking like this. And well, we have to there is always two things. There is tattva and there is rasa. There is tattva, there's truth, and then there is mood or the mellow relationship, right? So of course, when we speak from tattva, Krishna is all-knowing, and Krishna is as a Paramatma. Krishna is in the heart of every living entity. Krishna knows every little ant. What to speak of sons of Kuvera. Krishna knows everyone. Krishna knows. In this forest, there's so many insects. On this tree, there is some bug, on a branch somewhere. Krishna knows that soul perfectly well. So Krishna knows also us perfect. So that's tattva. But then when it comes to the mood or relationship, we have turned our face away from Krishna. For time immemorial, we're just, I don't want to know anything from Krishna. I do my own thing. And of course, that's also in this world. If someone, if you have a friendship with someone and then someone ignores you, like let's say, he cancels you on Facebook, the friendship, and he blocks you on WhatsApp. And you try to reach the person, but the person never, replies. At some point you give up. It's like, what can you do? The person ignores you, doesn't want. But Krishna is that personality. Although we have turned our face away for so long, Krishna is very, very eager. And Krishna, as a Paramatma, is right next to us in our heart and is always anxious to bring us back to him. He's just waiting for an opportunity to bring us back. Krishna is very eager to be again, that we are again with him. So that's why Krishna says, Suridam Sarvabhutanam, I'm the well-wishing friend of all living entities. So Krishna certainly is very well-wishing, very loving, and it's not that he's angry at us or that he kind of, they are conditioned souls, Bhattajiva, eternally conditioned souls. No, he's actually very, very loving, very caring. He wants us back. But in this pastime, just to make the point that without the recommendation of a Vaishnava, of a devotee, without the recommendation with the blessings of a Vaishnava, just ordinary jivas, so many of them, I have nothing to do with them.
Stray dog.
Yeah, stray dog. No. so it's more this is more a question of a mood, or Krishna wants to make a point. Like I love everyone, but in order to re-establish the relationship, you have to go through a devotee. You have to. That's what you need to do.
Okay. Was he also being sarcastic there because he is the son of a rich person? Because Krishna himself is a rich person.
Of course,
you know what I mean? Like, is he being sarcastic there?
That's part of course, that's part of Leela also.
Oh, okay.
He plays the role of a cowherd boy, a very simple village boy. And Kubera is the treasure of the devas. So naturally, Kubera is more rich than Krishna in a sense.
Okay, it's playing the leader.
It's part of the pastime.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
not that I'm the supreme personality of Godhead, and
Yeah.
that's why. Otherwise, he would not be bound by Mother Yashoda, right? Of course, initially he was in that mood. I don't like to be bound.
Yeah.
His vibhuti, his potency, didn't make it possible. But then when he was conquered by the love, so yeah.
Hi, Babaji.
Makes sense? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna. Anything else?
Prabhuji, why are there three definitions for a Vaishnava and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu?
Why there are three definitions? Because there's different levels of Vaishnavas, different stages, as we mentioned. Someone who, if a conditioned soul finally again wants to go towards Krishna, then Krishna is very pleased. So like for many lifetimes we have been not with Krishna, then now, okay, let me become a devotee. Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, put tilak, and Krishna, you're my Lord. Krishna certainly is very pleased. But that devotee is kind of a beginner. Kanishta Adhikari means a materialistic devotee. That means externally he behaves like a devotee, he puts tilak and Hare Krishna. But internally, he's not much different from an ordinary person on the street. He still has material conception, he still has many material desires. He's not yet purified much. He's a devotee, okay, he's a devotee, but there's not so much different. But someone who has been practicing for many years, or one who is very steady and very fixed, then he becomes, of course, more dear to the Lord in the sense that he's much more Krishna conscious. What to speak of someone who has completely given his life and is a pure devotee, who doesn't know anything else than Krishna. So obviously there are different grades or different stages of devotion in the heart of a devotee. And accordingly, the scriptures, the Vaishnavas have described there is the Kanishtadikari, Madhyam and Uttamadikari. And in order to describe the different, because who is a Vaishnava, then Mahaprabhu gives, well, they're all Vaishnavas, but there's different degrees of Vaishnava. That's why Mahaprabhu gives three different definitions.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
I think if we consider that even if one just chanted, like, just say Hare Krishna. Sometimes even people outside, they say jokingly.
Yeah.
And then if you meet them, you say, oh, he's not a Vaishnava. So we may treat them not like, we may very easily make offenses. That's why our progress is sometimes checked, and because we are not so careful.
Yeah, it's a good point. If we meet people on the street and they are enthusiastic to, even in a joking way, if they say the holy name, then that should be appreciated. Yeah.
Prabhuji,
Sukriti will start there.
Yeah, Sukriti start there, exactly.
Prabhuji, you said like the types of devotees, and then you said like if a devotee, if he is behaving externally as a devotee, but still he has material desires in heart, then he is a beginner. But what if a person who is externally looking like a devotee and he's constantly trying to doing 16 rounds every day, fixed and trying to do his sadhana nicely, but still he has a material desire. So will Krishna like him or not? Actually, that's me. But I'm just asking.
I'm sure Krishna loves you. That's no doubt. Yeah, Krishna, like in the past time, Krishna sees the endeavor. And Krishna's heart melts when he sees our endeavor. So certainly he sees and appreciates that.
Even if you have material desires?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, of course. We should pray and endeavor to give up these desires. No,
So it is important to give up them.
yes, it is important. It's not that we can just maintain them, and we should. And even if sometimes we don't have a desire to even give them up, or we still want to maintain, but then we should pray to Krishna, please, and help me to develop a desire to give these desires up. And we should try to. There is Bhaktivinoda Thakur has this beautiful prayers to Lord Nrsimhadev, as I'm doing my Shila Puja in the morning, and I used to pray this prayer where it says that. Dear Lord Nrsimhadev, like all these six enemies, lust, anger, greed, illusion, the kutinati pratishta, the tendency to see fault in others, the desire for honor and prestige, this all is always in my heart. But dear Nrsimhadev, please, I pray that my heart may become purified, that my only desire is for Krishna. That's a kind of prayer. We acknowledge, yes, my heart is still occupied with these, enemies and with these material desires. But please, Krishna, please, remove these things from my heart. Please purify my heart, and that my only desire is that I want to serve you. Right? So we can pray, and then if Krishna sees our endeavor, then he will help us. But of course, if I think I chant Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, and I do all kind of nonsense and it's okay, then our progress will be checked. We will not be able to progress. We do need this honesty and desire.
Thank you, Lord.
Yes. Okay, then. Thank you very much. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai, Hare Krishna. It was very nice to be here in Govardhan Desh, this retreat. And hope to see you again somewhere else, some other time. Yeah. Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Vanchakal Patarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhu Bheva Cha. Hare Krishna.